Hello everyone, welcome back to Malik 34 channel. This is Mallikarjun. In this today's session, we are going to discuss about 19C CDB, that is container database, and the PDB, the pluggable database, the basic administration of CDBs and PDBs. So we recently, completed our live webinar on multi-tenant architecture, where we have discussed a couple of questions regarding CDB and PDB, and then some of the general understanding of this CDB and PDB and multi-tenant architecture. So with that, this basic administration guide, that whatever I'm going to cover today, that will give you some value addition to that seminar, and it will help each one of us to understand common things about the CDBs and PDBs, right? So one of the common issue or common topic when it comes to the PDB, most of us are having a challenges to the connection to the PDB. How the one application user will be able to connect to my PDB, and how I can do export and import of my PDB, how I can do the RMAN backup of my PDBs, and then so many other stuffs. It will circulate around this PDB and CDB, because you cannot, if you don't understand this concept thoroughly, you cannot able to connect to the proper container database. If you are not able to connect to the proper pluggable database, you may end up with firing commands in some other pluggable databases, and then that may leads to the data corruption, or data inconsistency, and then that will leads to the some other issues. So one of the basic topic is creation of the services at your PDB level, and making use of that services, and you should be able to connect to that particular PDB. That is a common day-to-day task and common scenario you have to thorough with that the services. And then the listener concept in PDB and CDB, and then how you can register your services, and how to differentiate what are the CDB data files, what are the PDB data files, and then what are the users, where I can going to create my application users at PDB level and CDB level. These are the common tasks, so one has to be very much aware of when you are working with multi-tenant architecture, right? So this today's topic is going to be purely basic administration lab session I'm going to show you here. So I already have a two node rack setup is ready here. So this is node 1, that is Oracle rack 1. I have ASM1 19C database, ASM is running, and I have VoraCL database, that is VoraCL1 instance running on node 1, and I have other instance here, that is ASM2 is running here, and VoraCL instance 2 is running here. And what I'm going to do, I already fired few of the commands. I'll show you as long as I'm explaining this text document, whatever I collected will same commands will execute at our lab environment, and we'll make sure that it'll go fine. So initially when you install your CDB database, the first foremost question comes into picture, how I can create a common user, because we discussed, right, common user and the local user. Common user is at your CDB level, and local user is at your PDB level. Common user, as I said, it will start with the C hash hash, right? And local user, it is a local user, you no need to give C hash hash, it will be like traditional whatever we create, right? Create username identified by Malik, right? So that you can execute at your PDB level, but at CDB level, this C hash hash is mandatory when you are creating a common user, right? So what I'm showing here, if you see cat TNS names, I have a ORCL database, that is my CDB, that is container database. So, and then this is the scan it is pointing. So this is just a this is the just a TNS file I wanted to show you here. So if I show you cat of that, okay, let me see cat. Okay, don't consider this PDB right now, because our intention is just to look at this CDB right now. So if you assume you have created a brand new container database, that is ORCL, and that is pointing to service name ORCL. So that is about the TNS here. And then if you do TNS ping here, you will get a proper response, like you can see this output here already. So if you want, you can check it one more time, the output here. Okay, sorry, I had to connect to Oracle user, and I had to set the environment. sorry, it should be ORCL1. Okay, so now you can do the TNS ping. Yep, you will be able to ping that one. Okay, now if you check this command, I'm going to connect to that CDB as a sysdba, and it will directly connect to my container database. If you see here, container database, it connected to container database, where if I tried creating a normal user, like create user Malik, it will not allow at container level, because container level whatever user you are going to create, it should be a common user that should start with a C hash hash, right? So if you see here, you have to create user, like create user C hash hash Malik identified by Malik. So I already created that user, so I already granted that role. If you want, you can check C hash hash, I can say Malik 1 identified by Malik 1, or whatever name you can give, right? So user created, right? So C hash hash is mandatory when you're creating a common user at your container level, and then you have to grant whatever permission you want to grant, and then right, like you can able to connect using C hash hash Malik at the rate slash password at the rate of ORCL. So it will directly connect to your CDB, that is your container database, right? So I'll show you that, right? I have connected to container database. If I do show PDBs, sorry, show PDBs, right? Yeah, this is one of the other point I wanted to discuss here, right? I just given a grant DBA access to that Malik, and even though I given a DBA permission, I will not be able to access any of the PDBs, because I have not granted C hash hash Malik user to access any of the PDBs. I just given the DBA role where he can fire the DBA command, but I'm not given a grant access to any of the PDBs, so he will not be able to access. He will not be able to any command related to my PDBs or container level. Only I have granted DBA permission. That is why, even though if I do show PDBs, I'll not be able to see any output of all my PDB list, right? So that is one of the restriction. Even though this is the common user at your CDB level, I will not be able to access any of PDBs until and unless I have a granted to have a access on that particular PDB, right? That point to be taken care, taken consideration here, right? That is about the just I wanted to give a quick introduction about the creation of common user, and the next topic is how to create a local user at your PDB level, right? So that is our next topic. If local user, as I said, it's a normal traditional way how you create it. Create user Malik identified by Malik. Create user Bob identified by any passport, right? Like that is a normal traditional way you can give it. You can see here I just connected to my CDB, and then I did a show PDB here, like just exit from here, and then I will connect SQL plus slash as this DBA, and now if I do show PDBs, I will be able to see list all the PDBs because I connected as a sysdba. Sysdba is a master user, right? It's again a common user at my CDB level, and then I will be able to access all of my PDBs. Whereas in case of Malik, when I connected as a C hash hash Malik, I will not be able to fire this show PDBs because Malik is a common user, but still I don't have any access to any of the PDBs, right? So then next point, I'm going to connect to switch to the PDB. I have only one PDB. You can see here, this is a seed, the template, the default template, and this is a PDB I created, one PDB, right? See, ultra set container equal to PDB. If I do show PDBs, and then I can see only that PDB which I connected now. So where there I can fire a normal command like alter user Malik identified by Malik. C hash, no need to use that. It's a normal traditional way you can, how you create, you can create. I already created this Malik user here, right? So this is about local user. Okay, and the third topic what I wanted to show you, the services. When you create your container database and pluggable database using DBCA method, there's a default service will get create with whatever the PDB you create. If you create a PDB name as a PDB, the default service PDB it will create. If you create a PDB name as a PDB1 or 2 or 3, the default service like PDB1, PDB2, PDB3 will be get created. If not, you have to create it manually, but most of the time, like when you use the DBCA, automatically the service will be get created. But later you want to change that default service name, or you want to create a service name as per the application naming convention, you can create particular PDBs of the particular services, right? So again, I'm connecting to my ORCL database. After connecting show PDBs, I will be listing two PDBs here and show parameter service. If you see, ORCL is a service, you can see it at your CDB level, right? I will just fire this command. I'll just exit and I'll reconnect. I'm at CDB now. If I do show parameter service, right, I'm at service name is ORCL, that is my CDB service, right? And then if I do LSNR CTL status, and you see here, the service plus ASM plus ASM underscore data plus underscore reco, and this particular binaries, I will explain this what is this, and this particular alphanumeric here I'll explain what is this name. You can see this is also service, this is also service, and this is also service, and this is also service. You can see VaraCL XDB and ORCL is a service, and you can see service PDB. The default service will get create when you create your CDB and PDB using DBCA. So I'll just show you this one, LSNRCTL status. You can see here PDB, right? The PDB service is got created automatically. And if you do your LSNRCTL services, this is LSNRCTL status. And even though if you do LSNRCTL services here, you will see description of all the services. As I said, this ASM Reco and this alphanumeric, I'll explain what is this. And this also alphanumeric, I'll explain what is this. And if you see here, this PDB, and this is has one instance, and pointing to this instance and dedicated and all this, you can see, right, by firing this particular command lsnrctl services. I'll show you that here, lsnrctl services. Yeah, you can see the output, and if you see this last the bunch of commands here, output here, like PDB instance 1, it is pointing here, right? That is about services, default services will get created. That is what I highlighted with this bullet point, right? And then what next point, what I wanted to show, how you can uh, connect to that particular PDB, right? So you can go to your TNS entry and add that particular PDB, whatever the services you can see here, right? PDB, you just copy whatever the TNS entry for your CDB, just copy paste same the content, and then you just name the change the service name, where you can see here service name is WARCL, that is your CDB, and then service name you are going to give your PDB, because that is what your database, right? I'll just connect to my container database. I'll show you once again, show PDBs, right? You can see this is your PDB database that you are going to give here. And then if you do TNS ping here, right, this is what you given here, right? So this is your PDB TNS connection string, and then if you do TNS ping, you'll be able to ping that particular PDB, right? TNS ping, I'll be able to do the TNS ping, using scan 1521 port, and the service name is PDB, right? So I'm able to do the ping here, even though you can see this output here in this notepad. And then, as you know, I have created a Malik user, right, and granted the DB access with the with this at the rate of PDB. I'll be able to connect to directly to the PDB. So if I can fire this command here, see, if I do show PDBs, it will be okay, because this pluggable database, even though this Malik user is local to that particular PDB, and Malik user is a common user, sorry, common that local user for that PDB. I'll not be aware that whether I'm connected to container database or the PDB database. As long as I'm able to connect to my database, I'm fine. I don't worry whether it is a PDB or CDB. It is that completely what I can say, it is transparent. I'll not be knowing which database I'm connecting, whether it's a PDB or CDB. That is why if you do show PDB, I'll not be able to check it out which database I connected. So only thing is I can do show parameter service underscore name. Again, show parameter service underscore name. If you fire also, you will see ORCL, that is your container database. Whatever you see at your ps-ef grep smon, that is your container database. That is what I'm going to see here. I'll not be able to see my PDB database, right? So it is just kind of application user is able to connect to database. That's it. Whether it's connected to PDB or CDB doesn't matter. That is a completely transparent. It will happen backend. That is what the mean here. So only thing is, if you fire this $$ container database, if you have a access, if the application user as access, then if we able to fire that one, he will be able to know whether he is connected to container database or the CDB or whatever it is. If I do column name for A30 and then fire the same command, you can see container ID3, name is PDB, and open mode is read write. If I have this $$ container access, if I fire, then only I'll come to know I have connected to PDB. If I don't have access for this particular view, if Malik is just a normal, I connected as a Malik user, right? If Malik is a normal application user, and if I connect using like this, I will not be knowing whether I connected to CDB or PDB. I just know I connected to database, and my all the operation I'll be able to do it. That is fully transparent to the application, so application user will not be knowing anything. That's a good part about PDB and CDB, how it manages at the back end, right? So only if you have access to this one, you will see, right? I use a connection at the rate of PDB. I'm connected to directly to the PDB, right? So this is how you need to connect when you are having a connection string, and if you define service name at your PDB level, right? Okay, that is about connecting to your PDB directly using the service name of your PDB. And the next topic is how to connect to a PDB seed, right? So I'll just exit this session. As you see here, SQL plus slash SHDBA, it will directly connect to my CDB database, and where if you do show PDBs, you'll be able to see the seed template. It's always in read only mode. You never ever make it read write, or never ever play around this seed database. You just leave it as it is. Whatever the default template it will give, you just leave it as it is in a read only mode, and just use that template if you want to clone any PDB, right? So I have, if I do show PDBs, I will see this seed, and if I want to connect to that seed, I have to do alter session set container as usual, right? Like how you to connect to the other PDBs, and you have to give that PDB $seed, and then it will say alter session altered, and show PDB you do, it will show only that seed database. Like this is how you need to connect. It's a normal way, right? This is how you need to connect to for any of the PDBs. And then there also, if you do show parameter service, it will say ORCL, that is your container database. Even though if you notice here, I connected to my PDB database, right? You can see here, right? SQL plus Malik slash Malik at the rate of PDB. So I directly connected to my PDB. You can see container IDP and name, and then read write mode. So even though I connected to the PDB, if I do the show parameter service name, I will be able to see my container database. I will not be able to see the service name. And just remember this point, I'll answer for this particular query, where I'm able to see the service name. Even though PDB, this particular PDB has a service name called PDB, but it is not showing that here. I'll answer that at the end of this session. What is the how you can check your service name at your PDB level, right? So this is also showing ORCL. This PDB also showing ORCL, and then if you see here, I connected to C database here, right? And then if I do here show parameter service, here also I'm able to see ORCL. I will not be able to see the service name. Okay, so I'll answer for that particular query. I'll answer at the end of this session, right? Okay, next topic I wanted to discuss is how to create a new services and how to delete the service at your PDB level. Right, again, if you connect to your container database SQL plus slash SHDBA, and you can connect to any particular the PDB session. I will just connect SQL plus that. Okay, SQL plus show PDBs, right? So I connected to container database, and I'm jumping into my particular PDB here, right? So if I do show PDBs here, I can see I connected to PDB here, container ID 3, that is. And then you can see here also, if I do show parameter service, I'll see only that ORCL. I'll not be able to see any of the service name. So what I will do, if you can execute this one, execute DBMS service create service, you have to give the service name, that is new service name, whatever you want to create, PDB1 or apps PDB, or the HR PDB, or finance PDBs, or whatever the service name you want to give, you can give here. Create service and execute service, start service. If you do start service, it will start that service on that PDB. You can see here I executed this one, PDB1 I created here. PLSQL procedure completed successfully, and you can see here start service, PLSQL procedure completed successfully. And even though I created this PDB1 service inside my PDB, and already PDB is, I have one service called PDB inside PDB, and again inside PDB I'm creating one more service called PDB1. Now I have two services here, PDB and PDB1. If I do show parameter services, again I will not be able to see that both the services. Even though I have two services here, I'll not be able to see them, both of them. Okay, for again, as I said, I will answer for that particular query at the end of the session. Right, so I'll proceed further. Like once after created this PDB1 service, if you do LSNR status, you will see here service PDB1. Earlier PDB1 was not there. As you remember, in initial my session I showed you I had only service name called PDB. Now I created service name PDB1. I can see both the service PDB1, service PDB here, both the services. If we do LSNR service, there also you will be able to see service PDB1 and service. Okay, where is that? Okay, service PDB. Both the service you will be able to see it. Again, as I said, these two, whatever this the alpha numeric this one and alpha numeric this one, I'll explain what are those at the end of this session, right? These two queries I'll answer at the end of my session, at the end of this session, right? Okay, now I created that PDB, that the PDB1 service, right? Alter session set container equal to PDB, and show PDBs, like I connected to the PDB here. And if you do show parameter service, again as I said, like you'll not be able to see that service. Again I'll show you that how to do that everything in a short minute. And then how to delete that particular service, same thing, DBMS service, you have to stop the service and service name you have to give, and you have to DBMS service, and delete service you have to give that service name. If you see here, I executed this one, begin DBMS service, stop service, that PDB1, the PLSQL procedure completed successfully, and DBMS service, delete service, that service name, and PLSQL procedure completed successfully. So I deleted the service, and then after deleting, if you do LSNR status, you will not be able to see that PDB1. You have only that default service, that is PDB. And if you do LSNR services, you will not be able to see that PDB1 because we just deleted that one. So you will be able to see only this PDB service, right? So after that, if you are completely understand about how to delete and how to create services at your PDB level, so next point I wanted to discuss is check the active services. This is what as I was telling, how you can check your services at your PDB level, right, or at your CDB level. The command for that particular to check the services is you have to check v $services or v $active services. You can see here, right, I'm connecting to the CDB, show CDBs, and if you do this particular active underscore services, it will give list of services here, right? I'll exit, I'll reconnect to my CDB. If I run this one, you can see ORCL XDB and default service, that PDB belongs to my PDB database, and ORCL, this is a default service at my container database level, and sys underscore background and sys underscore user, these are like default service comes with your CDB, because these are like used for internal purpose, and then this ORCL XDB and ORCL, these are the default services at my container database level. Again, this sys background and sys user, again these two are again default services for my CDB operation. They will be used at backend. And this PDB is the default services at my PDB level. You can see container ID, this is one, this is the one. If you do show parameter service, you will not be able to see any of this service, you will see only the default ORCL service of my CDB. Even though if you connect to PDB and do this source parameter service, you will be able to see only that the service name of my container database. You will not be able to see the service name of that particular PDB. You have to run this $active services. You will see the actual service name belong to that particular PDB or CDB, right? So other ways you can do services. If you run this one, it will also give you more detail. If you see this output, service name and which PDB it belongs to, you can see CDB, 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 all are CDB, and only this PDB belongs to my PDB database. You can see the container ID is 3, right? And then if you do alter session set container, and if you connect to my container database in, as I said, like show parameter service, right? Again, at PDB level also, you will not be able to see your service name, because that will be always pointing to your container database service name. So again, to check that one, you have to select this particular active underscore services, and then it lists out only that services belongs to that PDB. And then again, VDALA services, if you do, it will list out only the services belong to that particular PDB. If you have 2 services, it will list out 2 services. If you have 3 services in that PDB, it will list out all 3 services, right? So yeah, that is the answer for that particular question query, right? How to check service name at my PDB level. You have to use VDALA services and VDALA active services. Okay, next, how or where the PDB data files are located or CDB data files are located. This is one of the questions asked in my the live webinar, right, which we conducted on Friday. So I'll explain about this one, and then at the same time I also told I will answer what are these services, right? This binary alphanumeric character right here, right? So if you see here ending with 27CA and 9483, right? So that I will explain here when I'm explaining about this data file structure and all. Okay, let me log into my ASM. See, if you log into your ASM, connect to ASM environment and ASM CMD-P, and if you do LSDG, you will be having your data disk group and record disk group. And then in your data disk group, go inside your data disk group, as I told you, right? Inside your data disk group, you will be able to see this ASM particular metadata, and then your cluster related metadata and password file and backup password file. Along with that, you have your the CDB container database, that is ORCL, and go inside ORCL and do ls-l, and you will see all these alphanumeric the characters. These alphanumeric characters are nothing but these are your PDBs. So you can create n number of PDBs, all n number of PDBs. The name will not be displayed here. It will be displayed with this alphanumeric, and then you have to correlate which alphanumeric this unique character is related to which particular the PDB. How you can check that one? This particular query, right? With the $v container, you can connect your CDB, and then you can see name, container ID, DB ID, and then UUID and GUID. You will see this particular container ID. See, I have my PDB and ending with 9483. If you go inside your ORCL and this 9483, I can say this is my PDB. And the other one is my seed PDB, that is a template, default template. Other one is the root container, right? The CDB $root, that is a container. So these are the 3 template, like 3 the GUIDs you will see at your ASM level. So if I want to show that one here quickly, so I'll just log in and plus ASM1 ASM CMD-P. Okay, so yeah, LSDG. I can see data reco. I'll quickly go inside data ls-l. Oh, sorry, ls-l. I can see, right? ASM is metadata, cluster metadata, password file, backup password file, and this ORCL is my the container database. OR star. I mean, okay, CD ORCL ls-l. Right? So these are my PDBs. So as you see this particular output, the $v container database output. This 9483 is my PDB. So I'll log into this 9483. So other than these three PDBs, you can see control file, data file, online redo log file, parameter file, password file, temp file. All these data files are belongs to data files or control files are belongs to my CDB, that is ORCL. If I go to this particular PDB here, ls-l, and inside my PDB I can see data files and the temp files, and inside data files, as I explained, I'll be having my system data files. If I do syssoc system undo, if you need undo you can have it inside your PDBs, and undo too, and user, those are like related to application, but you know all everything is managed at your CDB level. And if I go back, and if I go back and if I do one more time ls-l, and if I want to check what is the size of this one, just do du, and that folder you can see 1 GB. This particular PDB is of 1 GB in size. That's just a dummy database, 1 GB in size, right? So that is about these the GUIDs. So these GUIDs, like these GUIDs are nothing but this first one is my root container GUID, and the other one is the seed container PDB $seed, that is GUID ending with 27CA, and this, right? These are the two when you do your service name like LSNRCTL service, or the LSNRCTL status, you will see these particular alpha numeric, that is your GUIDs. This 27CA is my the seed database. The service name belongs to my seed database, and this particular service name 9483, this is the service name belongs to my PDB, right? So these are like, with my GUIDs I'll be getting those default services, right? So that is answer for my the second query, right? I told, like, I'll explain at the end of the session, right? So these are the default GUIDs. With that GUIDs you will be able to see few of the services get created when you create your the CDB database using DBCA or the manual method. So if these are not get created, when sometimes if you do use manual method, these services will not be created, so you have to create it manually. So that's it. And what else? Okay, yeah, so this is how the file structure works here. You are going inside your data disk group here, and inside data disk group you will see the data files are metadata of your cluster, ASM, and password file. And with that you will see your container database. With if you go inside container database, CD container database, and you will see all your PDBs with GUIDs, and inside your PDBs you will be having the data file related to those PDBs, and rest of the directories are belongs to your CDB. All the parameter file, password file, temp file, archive files, online read, everything you can see it here. And then how you can correlate these particular GUIDs, the alphanumeric UIDs to your PDB using VDAL container database. If you query this particular command, it will tell which GUID belongs to which PDB, right? That's pretty much for the today's session, I believe. So this is all about the basic administration. The one has to understand the moment you start working on your the PDBs and CDBs, right? So thank you so much, guys. We will have a next session in coming days. Thank you so much.